Hello, and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Productions channel here at YouTube, and welcome to another Album of the Week video. This is episode number 211. Today's episode, I will be putting a spotlight on Never Turn Your Back on a Friend, the classic third album from Welsh heavy metal pioneers Budgie, originally released in June of 1973 via MCA Records. This month saw this album reach 50 years old. So with all that said, let's begin. By 1973, things were looking pretty good, having only two albums, which were both produced by ex-Black Sabbath producer Roger Bain, under their belt, which gained them a cult following. But by the time of coming up with their third record, they opted to produce the record themselves. By February, they would head back to Rockfield Studios located in Monmouthshire, Wales, and by March, the recordings were finished, and in June, the album would be released. So, featuring 7 tracks, clocking in at the length of 41 minutes and 29 seconds, these 7 tracks are, well, beginning with Bread Fan, Baby Please Don't Go, You Know I'll Always Love You, You're the Biggest Thing Since Powdered Milk, In the Grip of a Tire Fitter's Hand, Riding My Nightmare, and then finally ending with Parents. So there you go. There's your 7 tracks. Compared to the previous 2 albums, Never Turn Your Back on a Friend was one of the band's first attempts at being ambitious. Besides containing one of their most iconic and influential songs to date with Bread Fan, the rest of the album kind of varies, almost bordering on prog rock. Even Bread Fan contains a prog element, but with songs like You're the Biggest Thing Since Powdered Milk, such Satanists, eh? In the Grip of a Tire Fitter's Hand and Parents, they are presented as lengthy jams, but it's the way that they are composed and performed that comes off across as being proggish. The rather lengthy closer Parents is one of the more moody and gloomier songs. It's not as proggish like the previous ones that I mentioned, but it's still quite varied in its presentation. On this album, they do a cover of Big Joe Williams' Baby Please Don't Go, which has been covered by most notably Ted Nugent, Aerosmith, and AC/DC. And it's a pretty admirable rendition, kind of pushes to being sort of heavy, kind of crazy in some places, but it still feels sort of laid back and stays a bit more truer to its original rendition than compared to the versions done by Nugent and AC/DC. Still not a bad cover anyways, you know. Finally, there are the 2 ballads on this album. You Know I'll Always Love You and Riding My Nightmare. These show quite a bit of Beatles influence, though it's mostly in the musical department rather than the lyrics, which are very heartfelt and sincere. Not my favorite songs on the album by any means, but pretty well written songs with emotion attached to them. So when I'm in the right mood, these 2 songs do hit me very well. I can't say anything bad about them. Like I alluded to a bit earlier, there was a point in time where Budgie was sort of lumped in as being satanic. Either I guess it's cause they played loud heavy rock music, or maybe due to the album covers. But the late Burke Shelley has went on record saying that they were never really into anything Satanism or occult stuff. I mean, you can't literally say that they wrote satanic lyrics, but you can say that they wrote weird shit. I mean, In the Grip of a Tire Fitter's Hand, You're the Best Thing Since Powdered Milk, or even on the previous record, Hot as a Doctor's Armpit. So I always find it absurd that anyone would go and think that Budgie were ever truly satanic. They are like the most safest band for anybody to get into, even if you're a lifelong devoted Christian who is into hard rock and metal. Just had to get that off my chest. After the release of the record, drummer Ray Phillips would leave the band and would be replaced by Pete Boot. And that would basically ends up transitioning into the album after this one, In For The Kill, which I'll save that for whenever I cover In For The Kill on this channel. So, 50 years old to an immortal classic that has tested the sands of time, being cited by Lars Ulrich and so much others as being greatly influential, though this might not be my favorite Budgie album. That goes to either their debut, In For The Kill, Bandolier, or Power Supply. But this is still a top-tier classic nonetheless. So here is a toast to 50 years of Never Turn Your Back on a Friend. If you were those who has had spent countless of years cutting your virgin teeth onto this record, whether they are positive or negative, you can leave your thoughts in the comments section below. But if you have never listened to this album, or Budgie to begin with, what the hell are you doing? So with that, this is Heavy Thrash saying I'm out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.